Well, it's brutal out there. I don't know if this is going to show it, but there's a pretty steady 25 to 30 mile an hour wind. And it's actually blowing the driveway clean. And it's 10 degrees. So the wind chill is brutal. Now, I had mentioned before in one of my previous videos how mixing Lionel with true O-scale locomotives and rolling stock is, yeah, it looks kind of goofy. They look like little miniature things. Well, there's case in point right there. I was able to piece together a running locomotive there at the Alco PA. I had to bend the frame and swap over some stuff from the Santa Fe Alco, the truck, and swap out the side plates and stuff like that. Where the guy who sold me the Santa Fe was indignant that I would dare give him a bad review because he sold a whole bunch of trains and it couldn't possibly be something he did. Of course, in his description, he had mentioned that it was new in the box and unused. And of course, if you look at the video, you can tell that the side plates are crushed, but it was absolutely used because the rollers had plenty of wear. So he either didn't pull them out of the box and look, which is probably what happened, or did and then wanted to blame it on shipping. Well, you could possibly blame the side plates on shipping, although the way they were broke, and I don't know, there wasn't a lot of sign of being banged around. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt of one or two of the side plates being broke, shipping, but unused, new old stock in the box, wouldn't have rollers that have wear on them. So one of the guys rose to the occasion, the other guy fell into a predictable pattern of people of his ilk. So enough of that. I'm happy enough, and I'm really pleased with the fact that the guy from Pennsylvania is trying to work something out, which means I don't really require as much. This is not high finance. It's as much about attitude than anything. But let me see if I can get this long train started, because I think today is about running trains versus fixing anything. I've had enough fixing for a while. This guy here, and the point, for me is I didn't like this at first. This little K-line, it's got some foam on it because it's all plastic. So ostensibly, it's a much lower quality train than, say, one of those. But I've had no problem. I've got less money into that by a factor of 3. And I've had no problem. It just runs. I have it running well enough to get a sense of what that thing can do. And even though it looks like a set of clown shoes because it's so big, that thing pulls pretty hard. And it actually can get around these tighter corners, which I think is pretty good on the design. It's an indication of a decent design. Now, I don't know if you guys pay real attention to what we do here. This is as much entertainment as anything else. I don't expect much. But you may or may not remember this. This is my universal pusher. And I did a video on the thing where I put it together intentionally without magnet traction. And the idea was simply to have a locomotive that I could put somewhere in the train that would just add just a little bit to help control the train. But since it doesn't have magnet traction or traction tires or anything like that, it won't get stuck, it'll slide. If the locomotives pull too hard or come to a stop for some reason, it'll spin and not take the train off. It adds some tractive power, but not too much. How's that? Because it's gonna slip before it creates any real problems. Well, we got the same thing over here. I did this review a while back, a short one, on this Williams locomotive right here, where I basically called it a piece of junk. And okay, maybe it is, but it's going to serve the same purpose if I start adding more O-scale rolling stock and locomotives, as that pusher did on my 027 stuff. And basically it doesn't have enough tractive effort to hardly move itself, you know, but it has some. I might be able to pull 3 or 4 cars around this place. But when I have a long train like this, it gives just enough push to allow those, which actually have enough power to pull 5 more cars easily. That thing really can pull. But this helps them get around the curves and stuff like that by putting a little bit of pressure on the back. So those guys right there just don't pull them right in, trying to straighten the string. So I was going to modify this darn thing, but I think I'm going to leave it right the way it is. I wish I had a shell, or maybe I'll find another Williams in the same configuration with one motor that was more period, because obviously, you know, an SD45 is not the same era as those Alcos, right? Those were made in the 40s, ran into the 50s. Most of them were retired by 1960. Of course, the Delaware and Hudson are famous exceptions. These guys didn't even come online until, you know, almost the 80s, right? So anyway, let's see if we can make this whole train run and just forget about the reality of this and the authenticity of it, and worry about tractive efforts and long trains and stuff like that. Yeah, that looks goofy. That thing pull. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 if you count the dummy. No problem. Yeah, this is going to be hard to start again. That guy here stopped. I don't know why, but it did. So, Okay, they're growing on me a little bit. I've got about an hour. About an hour of runtime on them. Yeah, no derailments, no problem. And I did pull the body, they're not getting warm. The only thing that's getting warm is that light in there. I'm going to need to change that out to an LED before it starts deflecting a little bit on the... Actually, you can see right there, there's a little mark. So I need to change that light bulb out. Other than that, I need to fasten the boards a little bit better. Put a tie wrap or something to hold them, and then find a different way of mounting them and greasing these trucks. And I think I have a running locomotive. That's a lot of work to get those. So let's change up a little bit and make this a Williams train run. What this is about is that's an LED. It's a little taller than the conventional incandescent, which was getting warm. So the question here is I'm going to run it and see if that gets warm. And if it stays cool, then I'm not going to mind it being right up against the plastic. It's a little bit taller. So we'll see if we can make this work. I pushed that down further and I kind of rotated a couple of degrees. So we'll see if it works. So while those Williams, the Alco PAs, turned out to be a successful project, FM Trainmaster did as well by replacing the side plate to the trucks with a Lionel side plate. That Pennsylvania Trainmaster has had no problems. It just runs and runs and runs. This one here is a little bit on the useless side. Now it's obviously the low end of the Williams line, and it only has one powered truck, and it's got the dummy truck on front. It might as well be a dummy because it doesn't have enough tractive effort to pull hardly anything. And so I want to turn this one into a project, and right now what it does pretty well is act like a DPU, because like the one I had based on the Lionel Alco FA, the one with non-magnet traction, you know, it might push 3 or 4 cars by itself, but since it doesn't have magnet traction or traction tires, it doesn't really like stick to the track. So if for some reason either the lead locomotive stops, it'll just spin, won't push the train off, or if it stops, the lead locomotive often can just pull it right around the track. Well, this one right here is in the same category as that. Probably makes about the same amount of tractive effort as the pusher I have. And I put this car on here because I really like it, and I'm going to start building up a set of these, priced right, you know, when I find them, because the 2.0 scale trains I want to build over time. You know, I'm not going to go out and buy them new and, you know, get them full price. You need a reason to go to shows and to auctions and stuff like that. I'll piece them together a little at a time. But I want about 10 of these, and that'll bring us over to the other side. That's all you want to put on this small layout. And I want to fill out the Amtrak fleet cars, and possibly a third train with the Pennsylvania MTH. I think they're really nice looking cars. But that guy there just runs beautifully. This is the one I had gotten at Syracuse, and we had to change one of the side plates, and I replaced them with Lionel. And man, what a nice running locomotive that is. But being scale O, it looks kind of goofy with 027, right? So I put sort of a semi-scale box in between them to sort of break up that transition. And of course that's scale O as well. You know, even that looks kind of small. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what the future brings for that one. I don't know if I'll move it along or use it for a DPU like I have so far, or maybe see if I can't get some powered trucks and add a little bit of tractive effort to it. Yeah, it's about the same tractive effort as that Williams. Imagine that.